Hello, and now welcome to the Greek of Acts 18:24 through 28. Hopefully, we're going to finish up in this video, Acts 18. So in yesterday's YouTube video over the Greek, Paul had finished his second missionary journey. He'd gone to Jerusalem, then back up to Antioch, and then launched out on his third missionary journey. And so Paul is in Galatia when in verse 23. Meanwhile, back at Ephesus, things are still going on, right? Priscilla and Aquila are in Ephesus, and that's when the event that we're about to look at here took place. So verse 24. Now a certain Jew, Apollos by name, an Alexandrian by nation, there are no nations, there's an empire, as I said. So Apollos is from Alexandria, and in my podcast, in the podcast version, I talk a little bit about Alexandria and Alexandrian Judaism, a rich place, one of the places we know a very, very great amount about the Judaism at Alexandria, and therefore about some of the background that Apollos would have probably grown up with there in the great synagogue of Alexandria, where Philo was. So a certain Jew, Apollos by name and Alexandria by nation, a learned man, an eloquent man, as we will find out from First and Second Corinthians. He arrived at Ephesus. So there's my sen, sigma epsilon nu. What is it? Aorist, active indicative, third person singular, from katantano. So that's a movable nu. E is a very common third person singular past tense ending, and with the sigma epsilon, I know it's an aorist past tense. Okay, he came to Ephesus, being, this is the participle of eimi, it's like a participle ending without a word, being powerful in the scriptures. And you would expect that if he's from Alexandria, where Philo probably had a school. Verse 25, this man was teaching the way of the Lord. And I talk a little bit about the way of the Lord in the podcast. Something I forgot to mention in the podcast is, remember in John 14:6, I believe it is, Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. I think John there is, personally, I have a theory that John is relating to this, prepare the way of the Lord in John the Baptist ministry, and the way, the Christian movement being called the way in the book of Acts, and then John, I am the way. Jesus revealing there. Okay, was teaching, this is a periphrastic, a form of the verb to be, and a participle. Ein is the imperfect of eimi. And then kate keo, you can hear catechism in the very word there, kate keo. It must be middle here. Men are passive participles or middle. He was teaching. So this is a present middle participle, nominative masculine singular, from kate keo. He was teaching the way of the Lord and being fervent in spirit. So this looks to be a present participle of zeo, to be enthusiastic. Being fervent in spirit, he was speaking and he was teaching accurately the things concerning Jesus. So this is the substantive use of a prepositional phrase. Peri to Jesu is a prepositional phrase, and then the article is substantizing that prepositional phrase. It's taking concerning Jesus and making it the things concerning Jesus. These are imperfect tenses, alale, didasken, so it's basically the present stem with an augment, making it imperfect. Third person singular, that n ending. See, it's the same ending as sen, except it's not aorist. In this case, it's a different past tense. Okay, knowing only the baptism of John. So episteme, this is, of course, epistemology is a word that is a derivative of episteme. I'm sorry, it's epistamai. It's in the same, histemi is kind of the same root there. So it is amai, its deponent. So this is a present deponent participle, nominative masculine singular, from epistamai. So I talk a little bit about how can he accurately teach the way of the Lord and not know about Jesus? It's just he knows the structure. He just doesn't know the X of who the Messiah actually is. Verse 26. And this man began to be bold in the synagogue. Began here. This is the aorist, because C is the key to hidden sigma alpha. So it's aorist. Amen. Ueta. This is a passive, middle or passive ending, third singular. So it's archo, and archo in the middle means begin. It's a strange word. Archo means rule when it's active, but in the middle it means to begin. Who knew? So this is aorist, middle indicative, third singular from archo, and it means this one began. And then this is the present middle participle, I would say, because it's peresiazomai, amai, its deponent. Omai, its deponent. So this is a middle or passive in form, but present, but active in meaning. That's what a deponent is. So he began to be bold in the synagogue. And having heard him, so sigma alpha tells me what tense? That's right, this is aorist. My aunt is a active participle, aorist active participle. S is nominative masculine plural. So having heard him, the reason this is genitive because akuo can take its object in the genitive. It's a peculiarity of the word akuo. So we call this a genitive of root idea because there's something about the word akuo that wants its object in the genitive case. So having heard him, Priscilla and Aquila, hey, who's mentioned first? So Priscilla seems to take the lead in the discipleship here. Priscilla and Aquila were taking him aside. So it's lobbing you an aorist. So this is aorist middle, because it'd have a theta eta if it was aorist passive. Aorist middle indicative, third plural. They were taking him aside and more accurately, instructing him in the way of the Lord. This is the ER. It's a comparative degree. So akrobos means accurate, but akrobesteron is more accurately. So they were teaching him more accurately the way of God. Verse 27. And him wanting to go into Achaia. So this seems to be a genitive absolute, a noun or pronoun in the genitive, and a participle in the genitive. So this becomes the subject. Him wanting to go through. This is an aorist active infinitive. It's aorist because of the elf. Ain is an infinitive ending. Into Achaia, that's where Corinth is, right? Having encouraged him. C is the key to hidden sigma alpha. So this is aorist. And then that makes this middle, aorist middle participle, nominative masculine plural, from prostrecho. The brothers wrote to the disciples to receive him. Wrote. C is the key to a hidden sigma. So we have a hidden sigma alpha. So this is aorist of grapho. Aorist active indicative, third plural from grapho. To receive him. Again, C is the key to hidden sigma alpha. This is an aorist infinitive. Aorist middle infinitive. It's from apodekomai, its deponent. So even though it's middle in form, it's active in meaning. They wrote for them to receive him. Okay, who, relative clause, relative pronoun, who, having arrived, was helping. This is sumbalo. So it's because it's lost one of its lambdas, I know it's aorist. So this is the aorist of sumbalo. Aorist middle, indicative, third singular from sumbalo. He was helping much. He was helping much. He was helping those who had believed through grace. And I think that helping, a lot of times in Indo-European languages, verbs of helping take their object in the dative. So this is a dative of root idea. It's dative because this little verb wants its object to be in the dative. This is a perfect participle, perfect active participle. I know it's a perfect participle because it has this reduplication on the front. I know it's perfect active because it has this kappa at the end. So it's a perfect active participle, dative, masculine, plural. Article never lies. But I also know that C is a dative plural participle ending. To the ones who had believed through grace. Verse 28, for fiercely. Os tends to be an adverb ending in Greek, so the ly, fiercely, or zealously. He was defeating the Jews publicly. So dia kata elenka dia katalenkomai. So it's imperfect. It has the letters of the present stem with an augment, and then its deponent, so that's why that has a middle ending there. So this is imperfect, middle or passive deponent, indicative, third singular from dia katalenko mai. Okay, that's a weird word, probably another word only used once in the New Testament in the book of Acts. Acts has a lot of one-time words, which is, of course, have a dictionary handy when you're trying to translate it. Okay, so he was defeating the Jews. I'm assuming that it wants its object in the dative, and that's why that's dative. Publicly, proving through the scriptures Jesus to be the Christ. This is a weird form. It's from epideknumi. It is a nominative masculine singular form of this particular me verb. I had to look it up. It's really weird. So it's a nominative masculine singular, present active participle from epideknumi, proving through the scriptures Jesus to be the Christ. This is the present infinitive of a me, to be. And there you have the Greek of these verses in Acts chapter 18. So, Lord willing, we'll go on to Acts 19 next week, and my Patreon video tomorrow, I plan to talk a little bit about the church at Thessalonica. So have a great time until you watch the next video.